Howdy, howdy. Welcome back. We are on another Workshop Wednesday. This week's edition is What's New. We're going to cover the new updates from Google Analytics, Tag Manager, and Data Studio, at least all of those that were released in September 2021, which, of course, as of this recording, is last month. Before we go too far into this, welcome. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls me Mercer. You should as well. I am the co-founder of MeasurementMarketing.io, and however you found us, whether it was podcasts and talks or maybe through some of the lessons that we share with some other platforms like CXL Institute, Social Media Examiner, Measure Summit, or Digital Marketer. Maybe you're already a subscriber or a member over at MeasurementMarketing.io. However you have found us, welcome aboard. It's our job to help people like you learn how to use all these cool tools. And of course, that means staying up to date with the latest and greatest features and updates that these tools are releasing, which of course happens every single month. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Measurement Marketing Academy, which is our flagship product. So if anybody is interested in learning training, if now's the time and you're like, hey, I really want to learn this measurement stuff and have the support and access and learn how these guys think about this, then this maybe it's for you. Take a look at it. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, though, let's focus on one thing. Remember, one new idea that you take from this workshop, one new thing where you go, oh, I didn't know that was a feature. I'm going to go ahead and try that now. Or I didn't know they finally fixed that bug. I'm going to go ahead and try that now because there were bug fixes this month. And so you take that, you practice it, you come back, watch this workshop, pick up another new one thing. That is how we learn things without getting overwhelmed and frustrated. All right, let's go ahead and get officially started. What's new? New updates from Google Analytics, Tag Manager, and Data Studio that were released in September 2021. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive right in, as we always do, with the Measurement Marketing Framework. Remember, the reason we talk about this is because as marketers, typically we're marketing in the blind. We're trying to get to a system where our marketing is reliably growing our profits and revenues. How do we do that? We plan, we build, we launch. Now, how do we plan? Ask the right questions, gather the information to get the answers. Then we make sure that we rehearse and role play the actions we're going to take based upon the answers we get. At that point, we then build out our measurement systems where we record the results. We make sure we know the who, what, and why of our traffic, and we tie those things together in a way that tells a story quite naturally. At that point, we can then finally start to use our measurement system, and that happens in the launch, where we finally start listening to the conversation that's happening between the users and the website. Then from there, we get our benchmarks. We can then start to forecast what our near future looks like based on our previous past. And finally, we measure against our forecasts. That is what will tell us what's working and what's not. That's how we know what to optimize. Do we change the headline, the offer, the design, the funnel? We'll know because the market will tell us that if we measure for it. That's what measurement is incredible at. Your measurement system should be telling you what's next, not just what's working and what's not. That is the Measurement Marketing Framework in a nutshell. Now, we cover that in today's workshop, of course, because as you go through the features and updates that are maybe new in these different tools, you want to think how you can take advantage of that to improve wherever you are as you go through the framework, because, of course, you go through the framework hundreds of times as you build out your measurement systems. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. And we're going to first start with, as I pull this up, Google Analytics. Now, this month, I'll say, the September updates were a little light. I think that's okay because it's Q3, and as they move into Q4, they tend to start launching really big updates. So I think this was the kind of the eye in the middle of the storm. Not a whole lot major came through, just some things that were sort of wrapping up, but that leads me to believe in Q4 probably have some really big updates. In Google Analytics 4, which remember, this is the only thing that's really getting updated now, is Google Analytics 4. There is the new thing that was added was some insights, some additional insights. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of these because I think a lot of this is just based on bad data in most cases because people don't set up their analytics properly. And then you have bad insights that come from bad data. But if you don't understand that, then you take bad actions based on bad insights. So you got to take this with a grain of salt. However, insights show promise, and GA4 is built from the ground up with machine learning and artificial intelligence so that in the beginning, it's going to be a little wonky, kind of like when a toddler's starting to walk, they kind of fall down a lot, but that doesn't mean that they will never learn how to walk. And that's what kind of GA4 is in right now. It's in this toddler moment where maybe this stuff isn't particularly useful in the insights, but they're starting to expand it and take it to the next level based upon the data and the usage they currently have. Now, why do I give you that backstory? Because insights, now they're starting to give conversion path insights, which they've never done before. Just to familiarize yourself with that, if you go into advertising, and we take a look at, let's get out of this way, conversion paths here. So here's our conversions, right? And then we have conversion paths, which are these things down here. Now let me see if I can get this to pull up because earlier today I could not. Now, again, This is just a quirk of GA4. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. It's why it's not our production platform, at least not yet. But I do fully expect it will be our production platform in 2022. And it takes some time to learn this. So make sure you get on it if you haven't. But right now it's showing blank, which of course it's not. I'm going to try to flip into one of our accounts to see if we can kind of pull it up that way for you. And we'll see if we can't show you this, but it's kind of similar to the multi-channel funnel reports that you see. Looks like conversion paths are down everywhere in GA4. So there you go. They are clearly working on the insights. Something's going on back here. Not quite there. But the change really wasn't in this report anyway. It was just the fact that they're starting to pull it out in this little insight section, which you can see anywhere. So that was the one little thing that came out with Google Analytics 4. Other than that, not too much. In Tag Manager, there was nothing that came out from the perspective of kind of the web-based, at least nothing major that came out in September. However, in server side, there's definitely a couple things to draw your attention to. So for those using server side, 2 new things came out in September. One, Google Ads remarketing is now available. It used to be just Google Ads conversions. This came out actually, I believe, the month before. But in September, Google Ads remarketing was released. So now you can do that through server side. And Floodlight is now available as well. So for those using Floodlight tags, you can now do that server side as well. And of course, if you are using server side, that's what you want to do. Migrate everything over to server side, because that's the way when you run your own measurement server, which is essentially what that is doing, that's how you get first-party data. That's how you set first-party cookies. That's how you avoid this catastrophe of third-party cookies going away that everyone else is going to have to face with in a year, especially a year or two when Google and Chrome kind of do their thing and they shut down third-party cookies. Remember, Apple and Brave and Mozilla, they've kind of already got rid of that. But Chrome has got 80% market share. So when Chrome does it is when the world will flip out and you'll really notice it. But maybe you won't because you'll be using server side and you already have first-party cookies. So make sure you start digging into that. So Google Ads remarketing and Floodlight now available in Tag Manager. Finally, I said not a whole lot of changes this time, but some. Finally, a couple of things. One is there was an update that is coming out and rolling out where they're going to change these icons. I actually kind of like this. So specifically data sources. You're going to see these little icons change and where you go to data sources. So it gives you a little bit more visual as far as what that data source is, which I think will be useful because you can't really tell what they are here, right? So I think that'll be good. And that's rolling out into the report. So you're going to see the icons change a little bit, some sort of styling coming through as you go through. So that was one particular issue. And the other thing was there was a bug fix. So if you were ever doing a data table blend and you were blending a couple of data tables together, there was a bug that was going on. So it wasn't you, it was them. It happened in September. It took them about a week to fix it. So if you've blended data before and for some reason it wasn't working in September and you were thinking, man, what is going on? And then you try to blend it now. It's probably working just fine right now. So that was really the priorities. That was really it when it comes to Data Studio. There were a couple of others. I want to make sure I get everything in there. You can now do, the other thing I forgot is the BigQuery. If you're using BigQuery, you can now build a map around BigQuery data. So you can now build geography maps, that sort of stuff. But other than that, that's pretty much it. They didn't really do a whole lot in Data Studio. And again, I don't fault any of the teams at this point because September is always sort of a lull month. Everyone's sort of getting back to normal as we can get in this current time frame. But October, November, December, I would fully expect lots of big changes. So with that, remember when you think about the framework and all these new features, what are the new features or updates that you might be able to use to improve a particular step that you've gone through before? I know the blended data was probably an issue for some people that were doing that. So you couldn't really build reports. It was tough to get a story, tough to listen to the data if you can't blend it. So now you can. So you have that. When it comes to Tag Manager, specifically with server-side stuff, collecting information like the retargeting tags, right? Being able to remarket, things like that. That is now an improved ability. You could not do that in August, but you can as of September. So make sure that you improve your server-side skills as you go through there. GA4, not a whole lot changed. Like I like the insights thing. I always sort of just keep an eye on that, but I am definitely not dedicated to using that to get true insights because that thing will have to prove itself to me personally because I think a lot of machine learning and AI in the beginning is just horrible. However, I am willing to bet with time, with enough data, with enough trends and patterns under its belt, it will start to make more and more sense. And then I'll trust a little bit more. But of course, I will let you know when I make that move myself so you can judge accordingly. All right, so with that, next week's workshop is going to be using the Explore reports in GA4. So those are the reports where you do a lot of the why is this happening and you do a deep dive analysis. It's a whole other section that did not exist in Universal Analytics that does in GA4. So we'll be talking about using the Explore reports in GA4. If you want that workshop, just be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and you will be notified as long as I believe you have to ring the bell after you smash the subscribe button. Otherwise, you have the option of becoming a Measurement Marketing Toolbox member. This is our free membership. Everything in here is free. You get access to the workshop, the most recent workshop, of course. And then you also have all the different tools. So a lot of member tools. If you want those, you have access to those as well. Just ask that you use it. That's the only thing that we care about is that you're logging in and using that membership. Measure.tip/WW. It is completely free. Just name an email and it'll send you out the login details. And then, of course, finally, the Measurement Marketing Academy that I mentioned earlier. So if it is time for you where you're like, okay, I got to level this stuff up. I want to not just learn how to use Google Analytics because I think that's important, but that is not at all close to understanding measurement. You need to think differently when it comes to measurement, especially now. We're about to enter this world of conversion modeling, and that's going to freak out a lot of people who just don't understand how to measure. They don't understand the power of trends and patterns, right? Truth is in the trend, power is in the pattern. We've been talking about this stuff for years. And so measurement marketers don't really have to wildly adjust what they're doing. Obviously, they're going to roll with the punches here and there as technology changes, but trends and patterns are your friend, and learning how to measure is incredibly important. Yes, that means analytics and Tag Manager and Data Studio, but it's also the strategy behind all of that and why you use these tools and how you use these tools, and making sure you're part of a community that understands how to do that. It's in fact why we built the Academy, to help people go through this framework over and over and over again at the different levels. When you're just starting out, you're kind of in the cave, bouncing around, not really sure what's working or what's not. And you run through the framework at that level. But eventually, you'll get into the valley of visibility. You'll be able to use the framework over and over and over again to improve your systems. And finally, into the summit, where you can go from mountaintop to mountaintop. You're doing really complicated stuff, but you're still using the framework just at a higher level. And we help move our students through that process as they improve their skills. So a very quick tour, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to pull this up here. So this is the dashboard when you first come in. So you've got access to primarily these 6 blocks that are right in here. And then as you go through the WIN courses, or all of our courses, I'm just going to quickly show you just by date. This is how they're organized. So you can always get in and get caught up in the latest and greatest. If you miss a month or two and need to come in and get caught up, you can. We do new courses about every 4 to 6 weeks. And they're also, of course, grouped by topic: analytics, Tag Manager, dashboards, reporting, measurement strategy, which I think is the biggest of them all, because if you don't know why you're doing this stuff, or how to tie in Tag Manager, or when to even start using something like server side, then you're going to be at a loss. You're going to be chasing your tail, because measurement has gotten increasingly complicated over the last few years, and just with all these new tools. And so it's important to understand strategy. So those are the courses themselves. Then, which is here, then you've got your on-demand workshops. That's right in here as I bring this up. So there's our on-demand workshops with today's workshop. Remember, this is the one we said you can get free anyway, so you'll see that. But our members, the Academy members, get access to all of the past workshops. They've all been edited down in what we call student editions. So you can click through, and they're also organized by, if you just want to get caught up on the What's New workshops, or the Getting Started workshops, or the Beyond Basics workshops, or, of course, strategy session workshops, you can. So we do new workshops every week, as you know. Then finally, we also have the tools and resources that are here for you. These are all of our members' tools. Again, this is free for the members that want it. Just go to measure.tip/WW. You can get these tools for free. But Academy members get additional things, including the Get It Done guides. So you can get little kits that sort of show, like, well, now that we've taught you how to use Tag Manager and Analytics and Data Studio, here's things you can do to combine those skills and make something really cool, like the Eyes on the Journey report. Finally, there's Ask Instructor support. This is when you need help, which we know is going to happen. You should know it's going to happen. You should expect that. How many times you watched a YouTube video and you try something out, even one of ours, and then you go, well, that didn't quite work with my tech stack, or maybe there's been a slight change in the user interface, or maybe there's it just looks a little different than what it used to, because obviously you can't update YouTube videos, sadly. So, instead of kind of just figuring it out on your own, you have instructors. We've built the Academy to have instructors that are there waiting for you. So when you have a question, you can just pop in your question here, put in videos and screenshots, kind of like if you could call me virtually over to your workstation and say, like, hey, here's what I've got going on. I'm not quite sure what a goal should be, or how would I set this conversion event in GA4, or why this tag isn't quite firing. Here's what's going on. Or just here's my site. Where should I start? Anything from strategy to implementation, we can help you out with. As long as it's related to measurement, we are there for you. Our instructors are there for you. Answers within 24 business hours is the promise. You get answers within hours and not days. That's the whole point. So you can get customized support, which is kind of something that you don't typically get when you just buy a generic course. So not only do you get every single course, you get all the updates, you get everything that we have to offer when it comes to the Academy. Remember the courses, the Ask Instructor support, the on-demand workshops, the Winner Circle community. I didn't even mention that, but there's a whole other community back there of your peers. So all the updates, right? New workshops every month or every 4 to 6 weeks, let's say. The Ask an Instructor support you have access to. The on-demand workshop library, there's hundreds of workshops back there now. And then, of course, the Winner Circle community, all told, roughly about $8,500, probably a little over that at this point, in training and support that you have access to. And of course, it doesn't cost you $8,500. So I would encourage you to join the Measurement Marketing Academy when you can, if it's right for you. Measure.tips/getacademy to learn more about that. And we look forward to you being an Academy member and seeing you in the Academy soon. Again, measure.tips/getacademy. With that, we'll go ahead and bring this one to a close. This has been What's New? New updates for Google Analytics, Tag Manager, and Data Studio, the September 2021 edition. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.